Welcome to Superhero Pow. I'm your host nerd, Tom Fremkin. Well, today I wanted to do something a little in between my little talking videos and my picture videos. I was looking at some old comic book covers the other day, and I was kind of taken by the differences between the Justice League of America covers and the Avenger covers. In general, it just kind of seemed like the Avenger covers were always more exciting than the Justice League covers. So let's take a closer look at them right now. So here is the first issue of the Justice League of America and the Avengers, both from the 60s. The Avengers cover, to be mean to Jack Kirby, it's really not that great. I mean, there's a little bit of action going on, as we're getting ready for battle. Meanwhile, the Justice League are playing chess, sitting at their table. Yeah, I think the Avengers just win this one. But actually, this is not the first issue of the Justice League. They first appeared in Brave and the Bold. So let's take a look at that one. Now that's better. I even would say that's better than Jack Kirby's. I believe that's Murphy Anderson who did the Justice League cover there. And so that Brave and the Bold cover is definitely a pretty good superhero cover. And here's the second issue of the Brave and the Bold with the Justice League. Actually number 29 of the Brave and the Bold. That's a pretty good cover too. Again, what more do you want? But all the superheroes ganging up on some big supervillain. Pretty nice. But getting back to the Avengers, these Justice League covers are pretty old, and let's see what the Justice League was doing when Avengers number 1 came out. And at least they're not playing chess. But to be honest, it's really not that too exciting. These weird boxes in space. Very campy. Since I wasn't around back then, I was never quite sure if these covers or, jail boxes floating in space came off as campy to people back then. It came off as campy back then as it does today. Or people are just like, yeah, that makes complete sense. That, this box would be in space as a jail. People would just float in it. They'd have chain links between the boxes, bars, so they can't escape the box. And then I guess we have to put glass over that box to make sure the air doesn't escape and kill them. But it doesn't look like they have access to food or any more air than what's in that box. It's very cheesy, very cheesy. The only cool thing about this cover, in my opinion, well, you got nice shots of the Green Lanterns there, but it's just seeing the two Green Lanterns together. Lantern of Earth 2 with Green Lantern of Earth 1. So that's cool. But aside from that, the Avenger cover is probably better. And just to showcase how weird Justice League covers would get, look at this one. Justice League number 28. You got the Justice League forming a picket line outside the United Nations. And, the Atom is holding a balloon, for crying out loud. I don't think this is what most people want when they buy a superhero comic book. Meanwhile, the Avengers, the same month, number 5, that's what you want in a superhero comic book. The Avengers going up against an army of lava men. It's pretty easy to see why, Marvel was becoming the hot company in town when DC was doing stuff like that. But let's find a good DC cover. Let's find a good action DC cover. Okay, here's a good DC cover. Number 33 of the Justice League of America. Some giant alien is looking in on the Justice League, battling some devices that he's trying to squeeze them with. Not bad. The inclusion of the Flash and the Green Lantern there is kind of weak, I think, but everything else is pretty cool looking. And the Avengers, standard. I don't think it's necessarily better than the Justice Leagues in terms of action, but layout, it's probably much better. That's what the artist Jack Kirby really excelled on, his layout, where that totally looks like Mike Skanowski cover for the Justice League, and his layouts were not always the best. But he did a good, well, it's got good action. Actually, this cover of the Avengers looks like the guy's playing a piano. Reminds me of a DC villain. Look at this DC villain. The maestro playing his organ, and I guess he's based on Liberace on some level, as he's got bubbles coming out of his organ, trapping the Justice League. Nothing says excitement than a guy playing a piano, shooting out bubbles. Oh, no. Let's see here. Let's get more action in the Justice League. Okay, here's a good Justice League cover. Look at this. This is the Key blasting in Green Lantern here. That's very cool. And it's a Mike Stanowski cover. So, Mike could get it done. Just not as consistently as Kirby, I think. Because look at the Avengers in the same month. In the same month, the Avengers, even with the quote-unquote lame new Avengers of just Hawkeye, Quicksilver, and the Scarlet Witch, fighting off an army of supervillains. Both are pretty cool covers, but I think the Avengers take it. Looking at the Justice League, one covers that were always usually pretty good for some reason from Stanowski was the Royal Fleshhand Gang. Look at this one here. This is their first appearance from 1943, and I don't know, that looks pretty cool for me. I think some of the anatomy is wonky on the characters, but that's a cool superhero cover in my opinion. And the Avengers, look what the Avengers have here. They have number 26. Looks like it's Don Heck doing the Heroes Around a Box routine. It's kind of a play on what the Justice League did. I think, Mike Stanowski, I think, is credited as doing this. That's totally his artwork here in Justice League number 38. That's Mike Stanowski's work. And, got the faces around the box. So looks like Don Heck was doing his own twist on it by giving full figures. But let's get back to the Justice League weirdness. We got this cover here. Number 53 of the Justice League of America, where they're being attacked by their costumes. Spectacular. Aside for humor value, I don't know who wants to read this book. Though the Avenger cover here, number 40 by Don Heck, that is a sausage party if you ever saw one. Look at those puff guys. It's hard for me to say which one I think is better or which one I think is worse. I mean, concept-wise, the Avengers is better, but it's just a pretty funny-looking drawing to me from Don Heck. Let's move on. How about Neil Adams, you say? Come on, get away from Mike Stanowski. Neil Adams did Justice League covers. His were all great. Okay, let's take a look at some Neil Adams Justice League covers. Here's his first one, number 66. You got the Justice League running away from a bunch of rejects from a Peter Sellers movie. I mean, what's going on here? The Dirty Half Dozen. Run for your lives. But the Avengers here, 1950, not the year, number 58. These covers were from the 60s still. That's much better. Not spectacular. See, this is where I kind of say the same thing. It's like the drawing is much superior on Neil Adams' cover. The concept is weak, where the Avengers have a better concept, kinda. It's just them floating in space. I don't know, who do you give it to? Kind of even. Maybe we should check out a good Neil Adams cover. Or, let's show us a really good Neil Adams cover for the Justice League of America. And here we go. Number 74. Look at that. Superman smashing Superman in the face. And the Justice League and the Justice Society cheering in the background. Or maybe some of them are shocked and some of them are cheering. That's a cool cover. You want to read that one. Why are they fighting? Got to check this out. Meanwhile, we've got, in the Avengers number 68, the Vision is dead, apparently. It's a solemn cover. Want to know what happened to him? Let's see, the words say, "Only the Vision could tell us how to save the Earth, and he may never speak again." So I guess that ratchets up the drama of what's going on in the cover. That's a really funny looking Thor. Look at how stubby he is. I believe that's a Sal Buscema cover. That is one stubby Thor. Justice League easily takes this one. But this punching of Superman on the cover being highlighted reminds me of a couple other Justice League covers. Here's one from I always say the date. Here's Justice League of America number 127, where Superman is punching out Green Lantern. And again, the team in the background is cheering. And then I guess Wonder Woman got tired of Superman punching everybody on the cover, so in issue number 143, Wonder Woman punched Superman in the cover. Pretty funny. That was kind of becoming a trope then. Moving on, let's check another month here. Here's Justice League of America number 90. And the Justice League is being killed by pollution. Boy, nothing says excitement more than watching the Justice League fight pollution. Meanwhile, in Avengers 89, Captain Marvel's getting lobotomy. The only good alien is a dead alien. But the Avengers don't look too happy about it, so not sure why it's going to be a good thing. It's a weird Avenger cover, but I think definitely way more exciting than the Justice League cover. All right. Let's go outside the box a little bit and give the Justice League some help here. Let's find the best Justice League cover. Let's find like one of the best Justice League covers ever. Here we go. Number 137 by Ernie Chang. Look at this thing. Superman versus Captain Marvel. This is one of the coolest covers of the Justice League of America you can find. The story inside is terrible and completely doesn't live up to this amazing cover. So don't buy this comic expecting it to be as great as this cover. But you can buy this comic and just enjoy that cover. That is awesome. Meanwhile, the Avengers had number 154. And has the Avenger heads looking at one of their teammates getting beat up. That seems to have been a trope in the Avengers. They had a couple of covers where heads are floating over their teammates getting beaten up. And it's all right. Middle of the road. Justice League easily wins this month. But let's move forward to Justice League of America, number 132. Again, drawn by Ernie Chang, where the Justice League is taking on a zoo, I guess. Not too exciting. Meanwhile, over in the Avengers, number 149, George Perez is doing his thing with the Avengers just in a full-on brawl. That is some serious Marvel action right there. As great as Ernie is, there's just no comparison. That Avengers won this month. Okay, but let's see if we can find a bad Avenger cover. Let's compare a bad Avenger cover. Let's see if I can find one. Let's see. Boy, I really can't find one. They're all pretty good. All right, here's one. Avengers number 151. I know some of you Jack Kirby fans are clutching your pearls right now by going like, what? How could you say a Jack Kirby cover is bad? Well, it's not bad, but it's not great. It's pretty weak. They're just standing there saying, face front Avengers, the battle's about to begin. The new lineup. All right, I guess. Just kind of there. Meanwhile, look what Ernie's doing on the Justice League. Number 134. You got some weird giant space hand grabbing the Justice League and the villain Despero as he blasts Supergirl. Yeah, without a doubt, the Justice League win this one. But as we move into the 80s, things were kind of equaling out. The Justice League covers were getting about just as exciting as the Avengers covers. But, they still would fall back on their weirdness from time to time. Look at this one, Justice League of America, number 187, by Andrew Ross. The Justice League is about to steal some jewelry. My gosh. Meanwhile, look at the Avenger cover here, number 100, number 204. Now, you might have noticed that the Justice League was being published before the Avengers, but As we reach the 1980s, the Avengers number count is much higher. They're at 204 and the Justice League is only at 187. And that's because the Justice League used to be like bi-monthly for a long time. And so the Avengers were always monthly and they caught up. There may have been a slight time of quarterly and some semi-monthly for the Avengers, but for the most part, the Avengers were always monthly and the Justice League was bi-monthly. And so that's how the Avengers is managing to outpace the Justice League of America's number count, if you care about such incredibly nerdy stuff like that. Getting back to the covers, Avengers win. Even with the politically incorrect Yellow Claw villain, that cover's awesome. It's by Bob Brodinsky, I believe. I'm sure I'm not saying your name right, Bob. I apologize. People have trouble with my name. But yeah, just kind of like typical Justice League shenanigans there and awesome Marvel action on the other one. Well, let's see. Why don't we wrap this video up by looking at the last issues covers of the Justice League and the Avengers. So here's the last issue of the Justice League of America, number 261 by Luke McDonald. And it's pretty cool looking. I mean, it's not a great cover, but it's a cool layout. It's got cool style. And the Avengers here, which ended much later, number 402, has, I don't know, I just don't like this cover. I don't even know who painted this thing. Oh, this was painted by Tom Palmer, mostly known as being an inker. If I had to give it to one of these, I'm going to give it to the Justice League, just because stylistically it's a much more interesting cover. Which one for superhero action? I don't know. Not much action going on in either of them. Yeah, they're just posing in the Avengers. But as I mentioned earlier, the Avengers went on much longer than the Justice League. So let's see what the Avengers were doing when this issue of the Justice League came out. Let's check it out. That's much better. That's much better on Marvel. That definitely looks like it's a John Buscema cover, probably inked by Palmer. It's Avengers number 278. And yeah, it's kind of typical Marvel action. I got to say, maybe the Justice League cover still has a little more interesting style and design to it, but for a superhero comic cover, I'm going to give it to the Avengers. That one's cool. You want to see that. Even though I'm not really sure why everybody's just kind of standing around watching She-Hulk. I almost said, and I'm going to say, take it in the face, which is not right. But she's going to get pounded. Well, I probably shouldn't even say that. She's going to get punched. She-Hulk's going to get punched, and apparently her teammates aren't going to do jack to help her. And that ain't right. All right, I got to change topics. I'll change topics by that old issue of the Justice League, number 33. This cover, the Avengers kind of did a take on it. Look at this, issue number 121. That's kind of an interesting cover. It's the same thing. Bad guy looking in on a monitor screen going, I'm going to kill you guys. And the hero's bashing away. That Avenger cover is from 1973 by Ron Wilson, so it's a little unfair to compare these two. But yeah, Ron Wilson has a much more interesting dynamic layout than Mike Stanowski's Justice League cover. Anyway, I just thought that'd be a fun look to check out all those covers and see the differences between the Justice League and the Avengers in their original run. I think it's, while the Justice League definitely had their share of some really cool covers, I think overall the edge still kind of goes to the Avengers. It's easy to see how, with their high impact style, the quote unquote, how to draw comics the Marvel way, and they never had to fight their utility belts, was making Marvel the hottest books on the shelf, and DC was slowly sinking to second place in the industry. But, all right, that's enough for me today. If you can be kind enough to like, subscribe, and notify, I'll make some more. some more videos with pretty pictures, and some more videos of me just spouting my opinion to the clouds. I hope you can join me. Take care.